Hello there, good evening and a warm welcome to the National News Broadcast. Bringing you your top stories for tonight, I am Lakshita Ediri Singh.
And I am Landslide, and these are the top stories making headlines for tonight. Landslide warnings issued for 14 divisional secretariat divisions. It was emphasized that the Broadcasting Authority Bill would not suppress media. Steps to amend all Elections Acts and ordinances. 95% of the verification of the details of the Aswaswa beneficiaries has been completed. Former Minister Naveen Disanayake appointed as the new Governor of Sabaragamuwa Province. 3 people found dead in Nottingham after a major incident. A suspect is arrested on suspicion.
On to those and other stories in detail. We start off with the top story for tonight. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers may occur in several parts of the country tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings to 14 divisional secretariat divisions belonging to 4 districts in the country. The landslide warnings have been issued to Kegor, Ratnapura, Colombo and Kalathura districts. Level 2 landslide warnings have been issued to Dehiyovita, Yatiyantota and Daraniyagala in Kegor district and Nivitigala and Kalawana divisions in Ratnapura district. In the meantime, level 1 landslide warnings have been issued to Sitawaka division in Colombo in Kalathura district and Alapatha, Ratnapura, Haliyagoda, Kuruvita, Kiriyalla, Palmadulla and Ayagama divisions in Ratnapura district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in Western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara districts. The Met Department said that fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, are likely to occur in some places in Sabaragamuwa province and in Galle, Mathura, Kalathura and Colombo districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur in the northwestern and Uva provinces and in Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the evening or night. Strong winds about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in western slopes of the Central Hills and in northern and north central provinces and in Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. The water levels of Kaluganga and Weganga have reached spill level. Reports have indicated that many low-lying areas and roads have been inundated surrounding the rivers. Water levels in the Castle Reek and Mausakale reservoirs are gradually increasing due to the heavy showers which occur in surrounding catchment areas as per the reservoir engineers. Therefore, daily lives of the residents of the nearby areas have been affected due to the prevailing condition.
Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena says the government has no intention to control media organizations through the Broadcasting Authority Act. The minister made these remarks while taking part in the media briefing held today to announce the cabinet decisions. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that him as the subject minister or the government or the president has no intention in suppressing or taming the media. He pointed out that there is no clause in the proposed bill to refrain in issuing licenses to existing media institutions. Minister also added that as the minister he pledges that they will issue the license even after issuing the Broadcasting Authority Act. A journalist raised a query over the media reports pertaining to the disappearance of 40 million rupees collected from the business community to construct a special economic centre in Balasore. The minister said that as per the Trade Minister, the economic centres are not under the Ministry of Trade and is under the Department of Agriculture. He also said that upon a complaint, an investigation will be carried out by the Criminal Investigation Department to gather information and arrest those who are responsible within at least 2 weeks.
The clearance of the Attorney General has been granted for amendment of the Acts of Parliamentary Elections, Presidential Elections, Provincial Council Elections and the Local Government Elections Ordinance. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for the relevant amendments at their meeting held on January 23rd. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for submitted to relevant draft bill in the Government Gazette notification and subsequently to table the same before the Parliament for the concurrence. Cabinet approval has been granted to introduce an election special provisions bill. Accordingly, a bill will be prepared to introduce a new act including the respective amendments to take appropriate action in case of violation of the code of conduct by political parties, independent groups and candidates contesting for an election, and to establish special polling stations for specially identified voters who cannot vote at the designated polling station on election day. The new act will allow taking necessary legal action over the violation of media guidelines when an election has been declared. Accordingly, the Cabinet approved the proposal presented by President to advise the legal draftsman to prepare the bill. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by the President to issue an order for the implementation of the temporary suspension imposed in 2020 out of remittances related to certain capital transactions and mobile transfers for another 6 months. The final order published in this regard is scheduled to expire on June 30th. On the recommendations of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Gazette notification to extend the order will be published and then submitted to the Parliament for approval. Foreign Employment Bureau says an upward trend can be observed in referring to foreign employments and remittances during the first quarter of this year compared to the previous year.
The Deputy General Manager of the Bureau, Senarath made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. Deputy General Manager of the Bureau, Senarath said that the registered average annual foreign employment rate was at 225,000, but it has increased up to around 311,000 in 2022. He also said that 131,000 has migrated foreign employments up to now this year, and the Bureau is taking steps to maintain this year's rate above the 300,000 limit. Responding to a question raised by a journalist regarding the foreign remittances respective to the migration rate, Deputy General Manager said that 1,334.5 million rupees has been transferred to the country in the first 5 months of 2022. The first 5 months of this year, he said that the remittances have increased up to 2,347 million rupees, which is an increment of 1,012 million rupees. He said that the increase in the foreign employment rate, strengthening of the rupee and remittance transfers through the banking system has resulted in the increase of foreign employment remittances.
The Presidential Secretariat strongly refutes media allegations of widespread food insecurity asserting to 7.5 million people in the country. Additional Secretary of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Sulakshmi Jayawardene, said that it is regrettable that the summarized accounts in various media reports have failed to align with the comprehensive findings of the Crop and Food Security Assessment Mission report, which can be easily cross-referenced with the report available on the relevant websites. Contrary to these reports, he said that the Crop and Food Security Assessment report issued by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations World Food Programme indicate an improvement of food security across all provinces of Sri Lanka. The survey reveals that an estimated 3.9 million people, equivalent to 17% of the population, are moderately acutely food insecure. This figure represents not a notable decrease of nearly 40% compared to the previous year's figures recorded in June and July. Moreover, the severe acute food insecurity rate has declined from 66,000 individuals to approximately 10,000, according to a press release issued by the President's Media Division.
With that, we take a look at a few more local news items in brief. The annual conference of the Ceylon Electricity Board Technological Engineers and Superintendent Union was held today. The event was held with the participation of Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara. Details were shared over the need for the CEB restructuring process and the reform policies. The minister said that the employees who have completed NVQ level programs will be made permanent and officers will be given due promotions following the completion of the ongoing human resources audit. Senior advisor to the President Sagala Ratnayaka was also present on this occasion. US Ambassador in Sri Lanka Julie Chung, who is currently in the United States, called on Chief Judicial Sanganayaka for North America, Venerable Katugastuta Uparatana Thera. She received blessings from the Venerable Thera at the Maryland International Buddhist Viharaya. All services at the Fisheries Department has been digitalized. The program to introduce the new system was conducted yesterday with the participation of Minister Douglas Devananda and State Minister P.L. Nishanta.
Now, State Minister Ranjit says that welfare benefits will be provided to more than 8 million people belonging to 2 million families through the Asvasuma program from July. He made these remarks to the media in Kego. The State Minister said that the economy of last year has dropped down to minus 8.8%, weakening the livelihood of many. He said that subsequently people who were on the margin of poverty had dropped below the line. He also said that the government has identified this issue and initiated the Asvasma program to provide welfare benefits for 2 million families. He added that as per the Department of Census and Statistics, in average of a family is consisting of 3.8 individuals, and eventually the program is expected to provide welfare benefits for more than 8 million people. State Minister Shehan Singh. State Minister Shehan Singh has said that nearly 95% of the verification of the declarations by the beneficiaries of the Asvasma Welfare Benefits Payment Scheme has been completed. In a tweet, the State Minister said that the payments of all welfare benefits will be made from July under the Asvasma scheme. He said that dates will be notified to submit objections to the names included in the list or claims to be included to conduct an inquiry. Now, former Minister Navin Dissanayake has been appointed as the new Governor of Sabaragamuwa Province.
The relevant appointment has been made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Former Minister Navin Dissanayake took oath as the Governor of the Sabaragamuwa Province at the Presidential Secretariat in the presence of President Ranil Wickremesinghe today. President Secretary Saman Ekanayake was also in attendance during the event. New Governor Navin Dissanayake expressed his commitment to contributing significantly to the realization of President Ranil Wickremesinghe's projects and government policies aimed at the country's development. He pledged his dedication to the progress of the Sabaragamuwa province. He acknowledged the challenging circumstances the country has faced in the past, but highlighted the positive transformation occurring today with the support of the President's effective initiatives. He also emphasized his intention to collaborate with political party leaders, seeking their insights and recommendations to successfully implement government programs. Professor Rohan Samarajiva says that privatization of the telecom industry poses no threat to national security.
During his participation in the President's Media Division Talks 101 program, Professor Samarajiva expressed his opinion regarding the Sectoral Oversight Committee's report on national security. The professor, in his opinion, said that the Sectoral Oversight Committee's report on national security relies on assumptions and lacks a professional study and contradicts the standards set by the committee. Professor Rohan Samarajiva said that the statement is purely an ignorance of both the present and the past. He said that Sri Lanka Telecom did not have a mobile connectivity facility and Mobitel was only partly owned by Sri Lanka Telecom, while an Australian company retained the management rights. He said that the operations of Sri Lanka Telecom was carried out by a Japanese company. He also emphasized the real national security issues and how they faced those in the years 1998 and 1999. All foreign calls were routed through the telecom headquarters in Colombo, and any harm to it, including a bomb, would isolate Sri Lanka from the international community. Professor Samarajiva recommended that a Japanese corporation developed a backup system, which was promptly implemented thanks to their investment. He highlighted that use of Gmail for government communication and emphasized that the majority of government information is transmitted through the Gmail domain, which is foreign-owned. Additionally, politicians and government officials use WhatsApp, which is also owned by Facebook, which is a foreign entity, to communicate. Repetition of the phrase national security without proper examination, suggesting that it had become a mere mantra or slogan. We'll be back with more news from home after this break.
Prima, cut to me, Fantamai!
Welcome back as we take a look at more stories from home. A Chinese delegation is currently in Sri Lanka to assist in implementing a series of programs with the government to improve and maintain the quality of drinking water and sanitation. The delegation from the Chinese Research and Science Academies
Let me start off by saying that the issues that you had shown, the challenges that you're facing, the solutions are actually quite simple because the coming Monday, we have a cabinet paper that is due for approval, as you've rightly mentioned over there, for the signing of the tri-party agreement. And also at the same time, certain things will be brought up in cabinet regarding the tri-party agreement and how assistance can be further enhanced. And how I view the JRDC is as a center for innovation, where we can make a lot of changes. Namely, that's one of the reasons why we are having this meeting here at Sivas. We're having this meeting here because as you've had a tour of the building, it's a 2.5 billion rupee building. And we wanted to open up this building as well for collaboration, and we could see how maybe the Chinese Academy of Sciences could work with us in that sense. And moreover, I would also like to say that yesterday I was briefed on the 6 main research pillars that was coming out of JRDC, specifically the manufacturing of our own chemicals here. And I believe that even retaining chlorine from sodium chloride, I think that will be a game changer since we are an island. And also it will help in shaping our economy, because as you all are aware, we are in the midst of an economic crisis right now. And we are looking at how to make the water ministry, the water board, and even the rural water department more sustainable economically. And I would also like to say that we should explore new avenues for research, and not just research, but also execution. You know, research without execution, it's pointless. So we need to see how we can come up with a framework where we can execute the outputs that we are getting through the JRDC. And I think there are smaller issues which, if we solve, it can eventually lead us to SDG 6.
The State Minister Balasore undertook a visit to Poland, Romania and Georgia today. A Foreign Ministry press release indicated that the State Minister's tour will continue until June 20th. State Minister Balasore is leading Sri Lanka's delegation for bilateral political consultations with Poland and Georgia. The bilateral consultations will review the progress of bilateral cooperation with the two countries in various fields, such as trade, investment, tourism and employment, and explore new avenues for enhancing the existing partnership. The State Minister will lead the delegation to Romania, focusing on streamlining matters related to employment opportunities for Sri Lankans. On the sidelines of the political consultations and business meetings, State Minister Balasore will also meet with relevant high-level authorities in view of further strengthening the friendly relations and cooperation between Sri Lanka and the related countries.
The 9th volume of the book Foreign Policy Perspectives on Financial Services was presented to Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abeyewardena. The event was held at the Speaker's official residence yesterday. The book was published by the Ambassadors Forum of Sri Lanka. The 9th volume of the book, Foreign Policy Perspectives on Financial Services, edited by President's Counsel Sarath Wijayasinghe, consists of the contributions of 26 academics. Venerable Nalanda Ramya Tiniyawala Palita Thera, President's Counsel Sarath Wijayasinghe, Professor Pratibha Mahanamaheva, former President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Counsel Salia Piris, Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police Ajit Rohana were present at this occasion. In the meantime, broadcasters in Asia-Pacific region are now discussing on the cooperation and new techniques in sports television production in the modern era. Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation made a special presentation on the challenges faced in the modern era at the Sport Group Conference of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union in Indonesia. The Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, formed in 1964, is a non-profit professional association of broadcasting organizations, and it is the biggest broadcasting union in the world. It currently has over 287 members in 57 countries and regions, reaching a potential audience of about 3 billion people. Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation joined the regional association in 1984 as a full member. Sport Group Conference is one of the biggest events of the ABU calendar, and the event is now taking place in Yogyakarta in Indonesia. Director Sports of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation Vijay Disanayaka made a presentation.
Rupavahini Corporation, the SLRC, mandated through a Parliament Act of 1982. The Act holds that the SLRC is obligated to provide a broadcasting service that is representative of all Sri Lankans. To fulfill this obligation, the SLRC requires sufficient resources and a stable funding framework to allow it to provide services, including the provision of broadcasting services in 3 official languages, in Sinhalese, English and Tamil, and being responsible to the needs of those who are deaf and blind. The newly formed national channel paid special attention to the broadcasting of sports matches to quench the thirst of fans scattered all over the island. Accordingly, from the beginning of the national channels, sports unit had a unique position. Accordingly, the national television had to shoulder the challenge of broadcasting the first test match in which the Sri Lankan cricket team, which had recently won the test status, participated. And the SLRC was also responsible for bringing the world's biggest cricketing event, the Cricket World Cup, to the Sri Lankan audience for the first time in 1983. And after that we covered the Olympics, the Asian Games, T20 World Cup, and also we broadcast so many sporting events.
United National Party Deputy Leader Akhila Viraj Karyavasam says those who adore the nation should extend their support to those who have come forward to free the people from despair. He made these remarks while addressing the Dodang Gaslanda UNP electoral meeting held recently. The meeting was organized by the party organizer for the electorate, Shastriya Rajaputla Veera Singh. Several party representatives and members were present for the meeting. UNP Deputy Leader Akhila Viraj Karyavasam said that every party is joining the President's and UNP's vision and his program. He also said that the next government will be formed through an alliance and it will consist of members from various parties including Podujana Peramuna. He added that the opposition is in the need of creating crises. He said that people were in a stressful period, but now the prices of essential goods have gone down, electricity tariffs are expected to reduce, the interest rates of banks will also reduce in the coming months, fertilizer prices have been reduced and is now available without a shortage. The UNP Bandaragam electorate meeting was held with the participation of party chairman MP Vajra Bewardhana.
තව කණ්ඩායමක් කෙනෝ දේශනා කරන්න. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා මේක දැන් රනිල් නෙවෙයි අපිට තමයි පුළුවන්. හැම දේශපාලන පක්ෂයකම බෝඩ් එක ගලවලා හංගගෙන හිටියේ. තරුණයෝ බැස්ස පාරට. බෑලා කිව්වා වහන උපදේශපාලන කඩ කියලා. වැව්වනේ ඔක්කොම බලු පුක්කු ටික වගේ. ඔය ඔක්කොම දැන් එහෙනම් අපිට තියෙනවා නිවැරදි පාර අරගෙන යන්න.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Ratkam electorate representative conference was recently held at the Hikkaduwa town hall. MP Nama Rajapaksa was present at this occasion. MP Nama Rajapaksa said that an economic model should be created to bring in large-scale international investors along with the process of strengthening local businessmen. He added that countries such as China and India has become successful through the collaboration of government sector and the private sector. He also said that transparency and proper plans should be maintained in such projects to strengthen the economy.
General Secretary of Samagi Janabalawegaya Ranjit Madduma Bandara said that he will object against any decision which is considered as negative for the country. The parliamentarian said that his party positively contributed in amending such negative decisions taken by the present government. The SJB General Secretary made these remarks when he called on the chief prelates of Malvat and Asgiriya chapters in Kandy yesterday to brief on the Bhikkhu Advisory Council scheduled to be held on the 30th of June. The parliamentarian briefed the chief prelate of Asgiriya chapter regarding the program during his visit to the Asgiriya Mahaviharaya. He then visited the Malvatta Mahaviharaya to brief the chief prelate of the Malvatta chapter. Stay tuned with us. News from overseas coming your way after this short break.
Prima Katami Fantamai.
On foreign news, 3 people were found dead in central English city of Nottingham today, which police described as a major incident.
Nottinghamshire police said that 31-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Police were first alerted to an incident on Ilkeston Road near the city early Tuesday local time where 2 people were found dead. Officers were then called to another incident a few roads down on Milton Street where a van tried to run 3 people over. They were subsequently hospitalized. A man was also found dead on Magdala Road. Police said they believe all 3 incidents are linked. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak offered his condolences to the victims.
Prima Katami Fantamai.
On sports news, Sri Lanka lost the 3rd match played in the Asian Youth Netball Championship against Singapore today.
The tournament is currently underway in South Korea. Sri Lanka lost the match against Singapore by 51 points to 29. Sri Lanka secured wins in the first 2 matches they took part in the tournament against South Korea and Brunei.
The final score is 51-29 to Singapore. Well done.
Sri Lanka took part in the first warm-up match today in the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe. The match was played against Netherlands. Batting first, Netherlands managed to put up a total of 213 runs within 45 overs. Sri Lanka chased down the target with 3 wickets in hand. Today is the second day of the first 4-day match between Sri Lanka A and South Africa A. Sri Lanka batting first scored 325 runs for their first innings. In response, South Africa only managed to gather 131 runs for their first innings. The match is underway at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. The National Age Group Swimming Championship organised by Sri Lanka Aquatic Sports Union was concluded yesterday. The 4-day tournament was held at the Sukatadasa Swimming Complex in Colombo. The overall men's championship was won by St. Joseph's College Mardana and overall women's championship was won by Visakha Vidyalaya Colombo. The Under-13 All-Island Inter-School Badminton Championship was concluded yesterday at the Kandy Municipal Indoor Stadium. Players representing 107 schools across the country took part in the tournament. The matches were played under 5 categories and schools qualified for the finals under each category were announced as joint champions. Women's Under A category championship was won by Musaeus College Colombo and Sujata Vidyalaya Matara. The men's championship of the same category was won by Anand College Colombo and Richmond College Gaul. Sirimao Vidyalaya Colombo and Malayadeva College Kurunagala won the women's championship in B category. The men's championship of the same category was won by Devanand College Ambalangod and St. Aloysius College Gaul. The 108th Colombo Tennis Tournament organised by Sri Lanka Tennis Association is currently underway. The tournament is taking place under 4 age categories and open and professional categories.
Prima Katami Fantamai.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on Channel.